everyone has something or the other unique about them. All you have to understand it and start with that particular idea.
Hello and welcome to the Honest Talk by Freak Folks. I'm Harsh Pandey. For this particular session, our guest will be Mr. Anurag Mishra sir, who is here with us. He's a co-founder of Cyber School, which is helping students learn skills needed for the career growth. So first of all, sir, I welcome you to in this session. Thank you so much for joining and agreeing to share your thoughts with us.
Thank you so much, Harsh, for inviting me. I'm just looking forward, very excited to go ahead in the conversation and share my thoughts and views. Yeah.
Thank you so much, sir. I am very much
Yeah.
excited as well. Moving to the topic of today's session, which we have chosen, is a career roadmap for the anxious college graduate. What do you want
Mhm.
to be when you grow up? Is the question that we are constantly asked as a kid and are expected to have an answer for. How in the world is a kid supposed to know what he or she truly wants to become when they haven't even touched the surface of life itself? It's ironic, isn't it? What are the different career
Yep.
opportunities available in the today's world for the college graduate when we are discussing this topic? So it's a kind of request to you. Could you please tell our viewers?
So, talking about Harsh over here, knowing the kids at an early stage, uh, I mean, at this current time, it varies, right? Depending upon what kind of family background you're coming from, because it's a very, I mean, you cannot deny that this question is not relevant because everyone, your parents and everyone around you, they're all concerned about your future. Okay, so that is completely fine. Just be in that stream, follow the river, follow the questions that is being asked. The most important part is for you to realize once you get into certain things. For an example, let's say you get into a school, or let's say get into the engineering college. Now you don't have anyone to bother you about what's your plan ahead. So this is the perfect time where you can explore certain things. When you are in the age of school, probably you are not very sure about what you should be doing, what you should be looking up to, and all those things. All you're doing is just involved in the routine exercises of the school, right? uh, what eventually happens is it's difficult, at least for now, for a kid, I mean, to understand what they actually need to do until unless they have explored it, right? So my suggestion would be to keep on exploring, right, as much as you can, and be very conscious, right, about things that you are being exposed to, right, that might turn out to be as an opportunity for you. So, exploration is the only key to understand what is actually going to be working out for you. Okay, so this is what and how things move on. You anything else? You said something else in that particular question. Could you please
All right,
come
sir.
back to it one?
Sir, one question which also comes here is that society has molded us into such a narrow one dimension way of thinking because we were raised to believe that the only way to prosperity was to choose a career path and work our way up that ladder. Don't you think we are always encouraged to chase money and job titles, but never pushed to evaluate and consider what we want our actual lifestyle to look like?
Yeah, I mean, that is how it is. I mean, uh, at least for now, right? This is what you have to deal with, right? Uh, if you expect society to be changing for you overnight, your expectations are wrong, right? What probably I would suggest is to be in that exploration stage and keep learning, right? At least at an early age, it's very difficult to have that awareness until unless you really come from a strong family background where they have already experienced certain things, right? And now they don't want the same thing to be happening in the next generation, the following generation, right? So I'll tell you, there are a bunch of kids who I teach, right? Their parents are very, very enthusiastic and excited about teaching the kids as much as they can, right? On the other hand, there are people who would probably not give any attention or any weightage to all these extra learnings, right? In my life itself, I'll tell you, when I was in ninth grade, I was very much into sports, right? And some way or the other, that was ruining my, if I'm pronouncing it right, was bringing down my grades. I'm not sure if that was actually doing, but my parents and my families realized that the reason why your grades are going down is because you're in the sports. That's their way of looking at it, right? And they went to my school, had a conversation with the teacher, and maths teacher specifically, because maths teacher are in school are considered very strict and all those things. And they had a conversation with them. They said, hey, look, he's my kid, can you help me out with what's going wrong? Okay. And maths teachers, unlike the maths teacher in all the schools, he said the problem is the kid participating in a lot of extracurricular activities, and he's almost in every sports and every events and all those things, and then that's the issue, right? So and that's how they've always thought of, so you cannot really blame them. That's their way of looking at things. So my uncle, he said, take my number. Next time you find him participating in anything, just give me a call. And I was like scared. I was scared. I was called the next day for certain events, and I just denied. I said, I am not going to be participating into it. My teacher's like, why you're not doing it? This is wrong and all those things. I didn't tell her the reason what eventually or actually was, but I just came back. And at that particular moment, I did felt a bit low, because I used to love sports, right? So I felt a little low, okay, but then slowly over the period of time, I overcame that thought, and later I realized, right? At least if I look back at it today, it wasn't actually, it wasn't the reason was very simple. My parents or my family didn't wanted me to have a low grade, because what they have seen the education system or the things working around is the people with high grades are always successful, right? So they were correct at their point, right? All what helped me out is to keep on exploring while in the journey of acquiring the knowledge, right? So acquisition of the knowledge and exploration is the key for everything. Society will always pull you down. It's your choice whether you really want to listen to them or not. Yeah.
Indeed, so you have given a
As
very
simple as that.
great example, and you have explained it in very simple words, and I'm sure the viewers who are watching, they are surely going to find this insightful, and they will relate them with as well. Sir, what I believe and what I have seen is that if we compare today's generation with past 10 years generation, now if we see around us that now parents are ready and okay with the kids if their kids want to become a YouTuber, if their kid want to become a singer, if they want to go in a, if we suppose that if we want to become a gamer, they are ready. If we compare this to past 10 years, now parents are understanding, and they are giving limitations to children that they can explore the world around. And I believe this is the best part. In future we can see more examples of such things. So my next
Yeah.
question to you is, choosing a career is one of the most important decisions that you will make in life. It's all about so much that more than deciding what you will do or what will you do to make a living. So in your opinion, what
Yeah.
are those crucial things one should consider when choosing a career?
Okay. So this is a very important question. Very resonating to my own life. So I'll tell you how it started with me. Uh, in school, I was very good with computers. Right, the only subject I really liked, and since I was good at it, I got those attention from my batchmates. Right, so we did coding and all these things. And a lot of students came up to me to ask questions. Hey, Anurag, how to solve these programs and all these things. Java was the language, I think, in ninth grade or something. So ICSC has this thing in their curriculum. I believe they do have at the moment. And that is the time when I started loving technologies, and I've always been requesting my parents to buy me a computer, right? Since the grade one. So grade one was the time when I was introduced to computer, and the labs were very. I mean, those were the times you have to remove your shoes to go in the labs, right?
Correct.
So and I was really fascinated by the computers, always requesting my parents to help me with the computers, giving them some or the other reasons and excuses to, this is why the computers are needed for me, because I'm lacking behind all the students who have laptops or computers are all doing very well. And they were ahead of me, like my uncles and all. They were ahead of me, like 20-25 years ahead. They've already gone through that phase and know what is important and what is not at that particular moment. I was bribed. How did that work? Was my dad said, "Hey, look, if you want us to buy you anything, all you need to do is get the first grade in your class," which was like an impossible deal for me, right? I always used to get like I used to get like 10th. I used to come this 10th and 11th and 15th and 20th as a rank in my class. So I accepted that, what they're trying to tell me, that I am not going to buy you, but they said it in an indirectly way. So computers were something which made me fall in love with technologies, right? And then over a period of time, as I was introduced to my 11th and 12th, that was again a life-changing phase. I got fascinated by Navy, the Marine, okay, all those stuff. So I went for preparing. I prepared for Navy. I cleared all the exams. I was selected, but then again I couldn't join, right? Because of some chronic disease that I had. I had to take that decision. That was the best decision I took, thankfully. But at that particular moment, I had this high thought: no, this is Navy is going to be everything for me. I mean, if I don't join, I'm not going to be doing good anywhere. Before Navy, computers and all these things were good for me. I think I need to have that. So Navy didn't happen. Everything was all sorted. Admission was done. I mean, there's this exams and all that were all cleared. My physical checkup and all these things. I had to drop. That was very painful for me. Very painful, I would say. I was in my village. I went to one of this very silent area. We have the bagichas, aam ka bagicha and all those things, right? So I went over there. I was just trying to pray to God as much as I could, doing those Hanuman Chalisa and all those things to anyhow either make me better or do some magic and convince my parents and let them allow me to go to Navy, right? But that didn't happen. Then the second phase come. I had to just quit everything out and went for an engineering, right? Engineering is something I thought, okay, chalo, computer was good. Let's bring computer back to my life and go with computer science. Engineering came and things changed. I mean, I didn't expect how engineering is actually, right? Because there's a very hype about engineering. Engineering is like you are building all those things that you see around you. I'll build my computers, I'll build Android operating systems and all those things, which is not true. And you realize once you become part of it. That was again a changing phase for me, right? I said, this is not, I don't think so. This is what is going to be helping me out. Okay, I was good at Java. I probably tried, let's give it a try to Android application development, because the prerequisite is Java, and I started learning application development. Slowly, I got a chance to work as an intern in a company. And that was the technical part. So far, so good. Then I was introduced to a startup where I worked as a subject matter expert. Okay. And slowly and steadily, I got promoted to the different roles where I got responsibility of handling subject matter experts, right? And this startup was very short, like 5 to 6 people in the company. So we got to wear multiple hats, right? And then I started understanding how the startup ecosystem works. And the best part was I came from a background where my dad is a teacher and my grandfather is a teacher. So teaching was something which was inherited from them, right? And I enjoyed the process. So there is where I realized, if there's anything that I would like to do is the startup. and that too in the education space, because I am good at education, in not the grade wise, I'm good at teaching. Okay, I have seen how the technologies work. I know, being subject matter expert, I have really been able to help student. So anything that is associated with education, and let's build something around the education. So now the point that I want to make is, all through these phases, all what happened with me was the exploration, right? Which eventually helped me out in taking a career decision, right? So there's no right way, or there's no roadmap. All you have to do is be into that process, create your own roadmap, and be very conscious in understanding what is working out for you, what is not working out for you. I think that's the best thing. Never ever plan it upfront that, hey, look, I'm going to be the engineer. I mean, it's okay, give it a try. If you like it, go ahead. Okay, but don't be stubborn like, no, engineering is going to be everything for me. Okay, so all what I'm trying to tell over here is, exploration is the key for everything, for, you know, for telling the society that you were wrong, for finding the right career path for yourself, and all those things. So no career path suggestion from my side. All I would suggest is to keep exploring and acquire as much as you can educate and knowledge.
Indeed, sir. I think it's very hard to disagree with you in this point. Sir, as you have told and shared many examples of your own. So my next question to you is, or it's a kind of request to you, kindly explain our viewers how actually your life choices will always reflect your morals and belief, and how they will aid you in making a deliberate choice on what is important to you. As you have given an example of your father and grandfather, how they are teacher, and you have inherited some kind of things from them as well.
Oh, okay. Can you make it shorter? This question shorter. I'm trying to collect what exactly you're looking out of this particular
Actually, I'm
question.
asking how actually your life choices always reflect your morals and belief, what you were taught from the beginning, what you actually created a kind of environment in your home. So you always think around and always take your all decision around those.
Yeah, got it. Got it. I got it. So see, this is important, as well as very crucial to understand how it actually works. You know, your parents will always try to give you the as best as they can, right? Not only in terms of the facilities, but in terms of moral values, right? So my dad, while I was in the school, had no job, right? He was a farmer. Okay, he was trying to manage through farming, and sent me to a school, uh, which was way beyond his belt. I mean, that was like, he had always thought of, I'm going to be giving my kids the best of the best possible education that he can. So somewhere or the other, uh, it was all what you see, right? If you are very honest to yourself, and if your family is the same, right? If they are doing the best, and if you can see through their eyes, right, that eventually will affect a lot, and will help you, develop and motivate you to do things, right? So whenever I used to get grades, the first thing that used to grades, bad according to my dad. I always used to think, how is it going to change? I mean, my dad is going to be really not very happy with it. So it's, your parents will never teach you anything which is bad, right? Even if you think at that particular moment, no, what is he saying? But whatever is he saying, he's saying because he wants good thing for you. So your choices and all those things, as in you move ahead, initially is always like, I need to make these people happy, right? Because they are doing so much for me, right? Then again, after some interval of time, you'll understand that I might be making them happy, but will I be happy? Okay. And if this is what I want to do to make myself happy, how am I going to convince them? because they're always like best of the best jobs, go for that. So this is again where you have to be very conscious about it. You have to understand how your family is working around with it, how you'll be able to talk to them or not, and how are you able to convince them. Okay. So overall, this you'll acquire as in when you are in the process of moving ahead towards your career path. So there's no definite answer again for it. Okay, keep this is the formula you apply, and this is how it's going to work out. So just I would say just enjoy the process. You'll get the answers in itself.
All right, sir. So
I
my
hope
next
that
question to
answers.
you,
Yeah.
my next question to you is actually being an entrepreneur. What do you believe? Any career path requires training, whether you are an accountant, an office manager, or an airline pilot. Becoming an entrepreneur is no different. The skill required to be a good at entrepreneurship are not exclusive. They can be applied to almost any field of work. Suppose that if you don't get a chance to become an entrepreneur, then you can use these skills in the corporate world where you are working. So my question to you is, do you support the idea of entrepreneurial teaching as a part of higher education?
Absolutely. This is one of my favorite topic actually. I strongly recommend to if this video is being watched by the undergrads specifically. I mean engineering people and all these people. I mean basically undergrads. I would strongly recommend you to try entrepreneurship while you are in the college. You know, no matter if your system is teaching to you or not, which is, I think, the system should be doing it. But at this particular time, it's very difficult to blame system and get that thing integrated because they have their own way of moving with things around, right? Now recently CBSE had made this Python and all these things curriculum important for the school kids. So there's a gap, and this gap will always be there. Now people have moved so ahead to Python, and I mean this is too late. I mean it could have been introduced a bit earlier. So systems should have the entrepreneurial education, uh, but at this particular moment it's of no use blaming them. Rather, what I would suggest you is to try. Okay, now here's the thing. While you are in college, there's no liability. Okay, you're sponsored. Okay, how are you sponsored? You're sponsored by your family. They're taking care of all your finances. So you have a greater scope of taking risk, because eventually what matters to you at the end of the day is, are you getting food, are you getting shelter, you getting to wear some clothes or not, right? And if that is happening to you, go ahead, start up with something. Now when I say something, it's not important that this thing should be a unique. Okay, you can pick up anything which is already done and try to think around it, how you can add a value and can make it a bit better, right? Now here is where things starts. When you get into that process is that is where you try understanding things. Okay, if I say today to you that Harsh, from tomorrow we have this subject being introduced to finance in a college, right? There's this subject in the next semester that is being added. For you, that particular subject is not going to be as excited as using finance in your startup and learning it, right? You'll just take it as subject. Okay, this is unlike the other subjects. I'm not going to. I mean, depends, right? So entrepreneurship will teach you everything. Okay, the idea, validation, I mean, how to manage stress, depression, anxiety, all these things that are thrown from the society, finances, legal, right? I myself have never done the studies of finances, legal, and all these things before starting up. All what I understood is by getting into the process, and that's the fastest way you can learn. Okay, so simple and effective advice to go ahead and start up something while you are in the college, and start up with something which you feel you're good at. That's the key to understand what idea should I be choosing, right? So for me, I was good at teaching people. How did I realize that? I realized by when I became part of this internship program where I was teaching students, I got good feedback, I was excited, and I thought, no, why not? I mean, this is good. I'm good at it. And that is how I took it ahead. So this, everyone has something or the other unique about them. All you have to do, understand it and start with that particular idea. You don't need to be very unique out of the box or blue things before you start. So my advice would be, yes, the system should encourage the entrepreneurial way of learning. But if they are not doing, it's your responsibility, because they're not going to be taking the career stress. I mean, they're just there for nothing, right? So it's your journey to get into the entrepreneurship journey and learn by doing.
Indeed,
Yeah.
so you have shared many important things, and I think it's a kind of privilege today we got to hear all those things from you. And sir, I could say there's a lot more to learn from you, but today I don't want to take too much of your time. So moving to my last question of this session. So in good colleges, we have seen the culture of student organization societies which operate similar to the corporate organizations. Student
Mhm.
organization offer experience that cannot be had in a classroom environment and offer the opportunity to grow both professionally as well as personally. Student organization also gives you the opportunity to network within a specific employer market and with other students of similar interest. So my question to you is, how do you define the importance of networking in both personal and professional life?
Okay, this is again all the important questions. Very important, you know. I think the best way to understand and explore is to participate in all these cultural events that happens in the college, right? That's the key. Where uh, if someone says how to go about, I would say look for the events happening around you and participate, right? That will expose you to the real world, the reality of how things are happening around. Now, networking as a personal, as a professional, both are very important, because this helps you in multiple ways. One, for the opportunity, right? If you have a good network, you will never ever cringe or criticize or put your voices that I am not getting a job, I'm not getting this, I'm not getting that. Because if you have built a good network, eventually you have to reach out to them to get the opportunity. Second, very important if you actually want to go into the entrepreneurship journey, is the team building. You know, having a good network will always help you in your own venture. Okay, in any ways, I don't see any drawback of networking. Okay, so it is beneficial in your personal as well as professional. Personal, I would say, if you're working on to your own startups. Okay, it is that's the only thing that will work, because initially at the initial stage you would want someone to be part of your team who's reliable, whom you know their work, you know their values and all those things. Okay, and for professional, I mean, getting into all this thing, corporate jobs and all these things, of course, uh, opportunities will no lesser be far from you. I mean, just a call away. Get in touch with the people you know, and they'll help you out getting somewhere. So I mean, that's again very important. So network as much as you can, and don't shy. Everyone that you see on any platform, be it LinkedIn, Instagram, uh, whatever platforms are there out there people are all open for networking. So if you feel there's this person who has a very high profile, he might not respond or he might not be interested. That's wrong. Okay, it's never you'll never understand until it's done, right? Maybe reaching out to 100 people, you are able to get 5 quality people who are always going to be there with you, guiding you through your journey. So go ahead. I mean, get in touch with the people as much as you can, and they're definitely going to be helping you on the longer run.
Indeed, sir. Again, it was a
Yeah.
very wonderful message from your side, and I must say it was a kind of healthy conversation with you over the topic. Thank you so much, sir, for joining and giving your important time. We look forward to conduct more such session with you in future. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you so much, Harsh. Loved it. Loved it. I mean, I did see a couple of your videos on YouTube. They were all good. I hope the audience that you're targeting, they're consuming it, and they get some value out of it, out of the people you are trying to get in and share their experiences and share these common questions that might come across people at the early stage learning and exploring things. Yeah. So thank you for inviting me for this awesome session. Yeah.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
That's
Welcome.
nice.
Bye.
Thank you.
On the ground is where I stand. Never give up, that was always the plan. It's so cold outside. I'm alone, I'm alright. It's so cold outside. I'm alone.